Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Depends on how you're watching this. So this week is going to be a little different because I have vocabulary separate from the rest of it, and it was just because I forgot to include it when I did lecture. So vocabulary is very important. Week one, you only had 2 words, and it was pretty much the essence of brainology. So you didn't really have me needing to discuss it because it was just exactly what the chapter was about. So all right, so vocabulary for week 2 is going to be a little bit different. It's a hodgepodge of a lot of things that are going to kind of bring us into a particular place when it comes to understanding literacy and many other things that we talk about this week. So, literacy obviously is the competence of knowledge in a specified area. I talk about that a little bit more in lecture, so you can go over that on the other side. So, equality. Equality, I don't know if you can see this in the book. And I'm sorry, I say book. It's the book we will be reading. It's one of the chapters in the book that we're going to be reading under rags. So I don't know if you can see the issue here that Lovey is dealing with when we talk about her having her period and how all of a sudden she no longer feels equal to her father when she becomes a woman. And I don't know if you see that or not. Maybe I'm, giving you too much. Maybe you could have figured that out on your own. But the idea here is that equality is a state of being equal, especially in the status, rights, and opportunities. And the second Lovey has her period, she no longer feels equal. She is not the person that she thought she was going to be. She's completely different now in her mind, right? And the way in which she thinks. So for her, she's no longer equal. Pigeon, actually, if any of you caught it before, pigeon was actually spelled incorrectly. I wrote the bird versus the actual language pigeon, P-I-D-G-I-N. So anyway, I do correct my mistakes when I find them. Go ahead and point them out if you want. Maybe I'll give you extra credit. Probably not. Okay. So, pigeon is a grammatically simplified means of communication that develops between two or more groups that do not have a language in common. So, the pigeon is Hawaiian Creole. It's 2 languages that kind of have come together to create one. And you saw a lot of that in the videos that you watched about how the pigeon sounds and all the different sayings. And you go, oh, I can see how these 2 languages have molded together to create another language. Okay. Howley is a white person. We know this because I said this earlier and you figured it out when you read all the readings. Okay. Social construct. Obviously, this is really important when it comes to this entire class, too, because it's a perception of reality. Okay, so social construct is what we kind of end up making things to be the way they are. Let me give you the definition, maybe that'll help you. So it's something that exists not in objective reality, okay, but as a result of human interaction. Okay, it exists because humans agree that it exists. An example is money. Money doesn't actually exist. When you think about it, every time you get paid, you have a number that goes off into space and it gets put into a bank. And so we have created this monetary value of a thing, of your work ethic or whatever. So this idea is that money exists, but it's just a social construct. It's not really real when you think about it. The numbers that you get when you get paid, they only exist because we give them existence. Right? If we change the way in which we have social construct, it changes the way in which we perceive reality and the way things are. So anyway, so the social construct, especially with Lovey, or maybe our understanding of what it means to be literate, all these things kind of come together and you go, oh, we only believe it exists because we believe it exists. Does that make sense? Okay. Anyway, so that's getting a little deep. You can totally go ahead in your what do you call it? Your discussion. You can try and bring that up if you want. It's up to you. Just I want you to understand as we move forward how important social constructs are to the way in which we live. Most things only exist because we give it existence. Okay, and I just mean again, like money, things like that. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit. Okay. Morality, okay? What are our morals? What do we find to be morally right or morally wrong? Well, everyone's morals are different, and morals come from obviously a system of values and principles of conduct, the way in which we live. Especially held by a very particular person or society, right? Some people's morality changes, whether it's a certain type of religion or a certain type of living or belief. Okay, so the extent to which an action is right or wrong is based on their life assumptions. Okay, and I bring this up because we have to talk about assumptions, where assumptions are beliefs. Okay, your assumption on what something is a belief. Okay, based on your experiences, your observations, desires, whether for you or an individual group, and a thing that is accepted or true to happen without proof. If ever we have an English 11 class together, I really talk deeply about this because we have assumptions about things we believe to be true because we were told. Here is an example. When you throw rice at a wedding, right? Oh, don't throw the rice. The birds, their tummies are going to explode. That's bullshit. That's not even a thing. But we've made this assumption. In fact, people who create, the little, the bubbles for weddings or the bird seed to throw, all these other alternatives, because at one point, someone somewhere, in fact, there's a law, I forget what state, there's a law where you can't throw rice at weddings. It's not even a thing that is true. Like, it is impossible for the rice to expand in a bird's stomach to the point in which it will explode. Like, it is scientifically impossible. But we have made these assumptions based on some beliefs or something that we were told. We held it to be true, so we believe it to be true. Remember that. Also, flies do not live only 24 hours. They live 30 days. I'm sorry, but A Bug's Life has deceived me. Remember one of the flies? He's sitting in the audience and he's like, I only got 24 hours to live and I ain't gonna live it here, or I ain't gonna waste it here or something. He's at the circus. Nobody. Watch it, you'll see it, you'll get it. Anyway, I had this crazy assumption, based on the movie, I'm sure, that flies only live 24 hours. But that's not true at all. It's 30 days, keep that in mind. If you have a pet fly, he's going to be around for a while, okay? Anyway, so I say all this because our morality and the way in which we believe things to be right or wrong are based on our assumptions of ways things should be. Here's the thing about the class. I want you to explode out your mind all your assumptions about morality, all right, and beliefs and things that you held to be true. Because if you think like Lovey, right? Okay, so we'll go back to the reading. Lovey and the teacher, and when we talk about literacy, every single one of them have this assumption about life, these beliefs, what they believe to be right? These assumptions on the way life is supposed to be, and every single one of them, it's kind of hindering their growth, right? So Dr. Harvey, or doctor, sorry, he's not a doctor, he's just a mister. A doctor wouldn't treat children that way. I don't know. Anyway, a professor, whatever. Anyway, so I'm going on a tangent here, guys. Work with me. I don't have very much time to record all these, and I'm not going back over it. So we have Lovey, who has this assumption about who she's supposed to be as someone who speaks pidgin, right? Who she's supposed to be as, a writer or just a person. She wants to be a Howley. These assumptions on who she's supposed to be, and it's ruining her life. She's not enjoying any aspect of life whatsoever because she believes she has to be something else. All right, and Mr. Harvey is ruining all the students' lives by making this assumption that, this is proper English, we have to speak a certain way, and absolutely giving these kids a complex, rather than discussing the understanding of why we do proper English when it comes to writing and jobs and all that stuff. So there's a different level of understanding the proper way of saying and writing. And then we talk about literacy, right? Again, we talk about what is literacy, these assumptions, like how your parents had an assumption of what it means to read and write, what your grandparents did, what we do, what our children will have. So there's a reason why all these vocabulary words are in here, is to really truly understand how our social construct starts to bleed into our assumptions, which also pushes us to, what we feel to be moral or immoral. All right, so all these tie in together. And then we have to understand when we put in all of these beliefs and all these things we hold to be true, at what point do they get in the way of equality? Okay, at what point do they get in the way of being equal? Okay, or in whether it's in status or rights, human rights, or opportunities. Okay, so everything we have going on, it all bleeds together, all ties in together. And I really want you to take a moment and kind of see how that works. And utilize these vocabulary words in your discussion and really try and understand what they mean. And that's the whole point of composing and in composition. We will be reading a lot. Lots of reading. We're going to have videos so that we can put it all together and go, oh shit, I see how it all goes together. So anyway, that is my quick video on vocabulary words. I hope it worked for you. If you have any questions, let me know. And you're doing great, guys. See you then. Not guys, all of you. Okay? Sorry.